Beardos, weirdos, boils and ghouls. This is a video of your questions. I basically put a community post out 10 hours ago and said you have 10 hours to ask your questions and I will answer them. DMC. And DMC says, I've had my own personal paranormal experiences as you have. Can you tell us without detail what one of yours was? Ouija board, about 12 of us in the room, glass starts going mental because it was a homemade Ouija board with a whiskey tumbler. It starts saying some really vile things about one of the guys that was there's passed away father. None of us knew the guy's father. We didn't know some of the things that were being said. The guy lost his temper thinking we were pushing it. I still think somebody was pushing it, but when he lost his temper, the glass, you heard like a flick on the glass. It upturned the right way, shot across the room, and just burst mid-air, showered him in glass. And that is why I am terrified of Ouija boards. Now, science says micro movements, and yeah, micro movements didn't make that glass fly across the room and break in somebody's face. He wasn't hurt. This comment continues after the question. My first experience was a few days after my grandpop died unexpectedly and I was 10 years old. I'm very sorry for your loss. Oh, 10. I was quite fortunate that my grandfather was alive into my 30s and my grandmother just before my 40s. He was my best friend and piano playing buddy. As I wept in bed, laying on my right side facing my RM room, my bed was against the wall on the other side. My grandpop visited me. He was bathed in the most beautiful warm light I'd ever seen. He smiled at me and said, "Don't cry. I'm okay, I love you, and I'll always be with you." I told him I love him too and I miss him so much and I know he's still with me. He's been gone for 44 years. That visit is seared into my memory. My mum and I had shared experiences of my grandpop as well. We were together when he'd pop in to visit. I have no problem with people not believing me and that's totally okay. My husband is on the fence. He believes in my experiences, but he hasn't experienced anything himself. Apologies for the novel. Thought I'd share one of my encounters. Love to you, Beardo and Mrs. Geek, and everyone else share. Cheers. DMC, thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. I'd love to have an experience like that with my grandparents. None of us smoke in the house. We all vape, but we all vape like fruity flavours. And a couple of months ago, I was like really stressed and quite down. And we kept smelling cigarette smoke in the house. And we couldn't work it out. We were blaming the kids. And the kids are not kids anymore. They're fully grown. We were like, one of them smoking. And yeah, there was no smoke in the house, just the smell of it. And I walked past my grandparents' and looked, and I was like, I bet you pay think it's funny with the amount you smoked. And then sort of the coin dropped, and I was like, I wonder. And since the day that I put two and two together, we have not smelt it. Bizarre. Denise. I would have sung the rest, but I don't know the song. Do you believe in the conspiracy that there is a Hollywood blood cult? There's a Hollywood blood cult? Satanic Panic? I've never heard of it, but I'm definitely going to look into it. Do I believe there's a blood cult? Celebrities are weird people. Look at the stuff they've done. Potentially there's something in that, you know? Right, if I'm reading an email, it's not what your YouTube name is right now. It's because YouTube just decides to show the first ever name that your channel was for content creators. I don't know why. I didn't even realise that was a thing until Mr. Grey pointed it out. Veronica Attila. Your name's something else. What was that? You know, the one thing that made you believe in the paranormal, and what's the scariest, best paranormal experience you've had? Remember, take it easy sometimes too. We're still here. Yeah, that was about me. Basically, I'm dropping the Wednesday night live streams because I just don't have the time. My sleep is ruined. I mean, look at this shit under my eyes. What made me believe in the paranormal was waking up to see a man stood in... I had a bedroom at my grandparents' house. Woke up and there's a guy stood there. Didn't recognise him, didn't know who he was, screamed the place down. My grandparents came in, or my grandfather came in. What the bloody hell is all this noise? There's a man in here. There's nobody here. You've had a dream. Go back to sleep. Alright, cool. My uncle was in the army at the time. He came home on leave. I told him about it. And he was like, I had the same thing happen when I was younger. Oh, cool. Nothing else was ever said about it for... I don't know. I'm pretty sure I was in my teenage years. And my nan pulls out a photo album. She's flicking through, and then I see this guy in a black and white photo, and I was like, that's who I saw. Dressed like that, but in colour. And my nan looked at me, and my uncle looked at the photo, and he went, that's what I saw. and it was his grandfather, my great-grandfather. The weird thing is, none of us had ever met him. That was the only photograph my grandmother had of him, and she'd not got it out in decades. Because my grandmother had very little memory of him because he passed away when she was very, very young. Dorset Paranormal Investigators, why are you so sexy? I was just born like this, bitch. Can you be sexy in this shape? Round is sexy, right? Right, real question. Is there anything you would like to see us real investigators add to our ways of investigating? Something that we haven't done before that you have had success with while investigating? No. I haven't had much success at all. What me, Dean, and Parple have decided to do is ditch the apps, ditch all the gadgets and gizmos, and maybe look further into trigger objects for time periods and things like that. The family have been doing what's it called, art with the little diamonds. One of them was stuck to me. Do whatever works for you at the end of the day. For me, the apps and the gizmos, I'm concentrating more on them than the actual investigation. I gave Real Evidence the advice to maybe try what I've been doing. They've just released a video where they ditched all the apps and gizmos. I think they only used a K2. And they messaged me to thank me, and they were like, that's the best investigation we've had, because we weren't concentrating on electronics. We were concentrating on the building, feelings, sounds, debunking. And it was a really good investigation. Real Evidence. Go and check them out. Lisa Dawson. Hey Beardo, we appreciate the content you put out, and we don't expect it every day. It's a lot and it's time consuming. Focus on what you're enjoying, give yourself enough time to edit and upload, and please don't feel obligated to us to do more than is manageable. You have work and family commitments, so this is a lot. If you only put out one video and a live every week, we'd still be here to support you. We ain't going anywhere, and we don't want an exhausted Beardo. Much love to you and Mrs. Geek. That wasn't a question, Lisa. I'm joking. This isn't just a problem with me in YouTube. This is a problem with me in any aspect of anything creative I do. I used to not sleep when I was doing the art like that. When I was in bands, I'd be up all night writing songs and touring, then going to work, playing a show, going to work. I've always been the same. I sort of get, I wouldn't say obsessed, but very tunnel visioned into whatever it is I'm doing. I was the same with Twitch, and I exhausted it and then started to hate it towards the end, which is why I take breaks and inform the community that, you know, I'm having the weekend off and we're going to be a bit light on content this week, to make sure I take those breaks and etc. Nuttin' Fats, how are we doing? What is one conspiracy that you believe is true in your home country? Me, I think the pyramids were built as an energy source for an advanced civilization. Humans. Oh, I'm not from Egypt. I don't really know any conspiracy theories for... There was one about the Queen and the royal family being lizards. I don't believe that. But I definitely think that the pyramid... Much like you, the pyramids, they blow my mind. The sheer scale of them and the work that went in, and it's like, we couldn't build them with our technology now. So how the hell did they build them back then? Or more to the point, which weird shaped head thing with grey skin and big black eyes showed them how to do it, or did it for them? Thank you, Nugginfuts. Carly Newton, what is your most likely conspiracy theory? As in, which conspiracy theory do you think overall is most likely to have come from some basis in truth? You can tell Mr. Gray's done a conspiracy video, because the questions are loaded with conspiracy. Elvis not being dead. Now, I think he's dead now. I don't think he died when... Or a part of me thinks that there is some truth in the whole thing where people were seeing Elvis after he died. And I think it was the guy just had enough. Obviously, gained a lot of weight. He wasn't healthy. And maybe he didn't die when he said he did, or when people said he did, and he just went on for a quiet existence. Maybe not for as long, but I think there may be some truth in that. But other than that, I don't know. And the moon landing. I think the moon landing actually happened, but I don't know about those photographs. And that, again, was put in my head by Mr. Gray. Kimberly McMahon. Why can I not read your last name? Kimberly. Do you think skeptics are capable of being truly impartial when doing a paranormal investigation? Do you think skeptics could be a paranormal investigator, or does their skepticism not allow for that? That's a really good question. Which is why we took Mr. Gray to Hill House with us, because skepticism and common sense and a grounded approach are often needed in paranormal investigations, because with human nature, if somebody starts to get freaked out, that panic can spread. And when you've got a complete skeptic, and I'm not talking about me, Parple, and Dean, because we all believe in the paranormal, but we're very skeptical at the same time. But I think, yeah, absolutely a skeptic can be a paranormal investigator. In fact, I think they should be paranormal investigators, because us believers going out, you know, me, Dean, and Parple, we go out, we get an experience, everyone's like, yeah, but you believe in it, you know, oh, you could have staged it and all the rest of it. If Mr. Grey came out, had an experience, was like, I think I've just experienced something paranormal, everyone is going to lose their shit. Everyone is going to lose their shit, because he is so skeptical. And this is part of the reason I want Mr. Grey to accompany us as many times as he's available, is I would love for him to have an experience. Absolutely love it, to see if it changes. He's an honest man, so he's going to be honest about it. And yeah, I like that. Clay Filer, we understand we work film and editing, it's all time consuming, and you need to have time to yourself and spend time with your family. We appreciate everything you do, and don't go burning yourself out or making yourself ill. We all love you and care about you, and we will take what you can give and are grateful for that. Thank you. That's not a question, but I appreciate it. CRL, the legend. If you were able to choose, how would you spend your afterlife, assuming there is one, of course? Edit to add, don't work yourself too hard, Vito. I'm good. See, if I was to go early in life, I would be the worst type of ghost. I would go after all of the fakers, all of them, and I would haunt the shit out of them, except for the kitchen, except for wherever the cameras are. Literally, I would avoid the kitchen at all costs, and I'd be like, right, they're in the toilet, there's no camera in there, and just like throw wet toilet rolls at their heads and throw towels around, and when they're going down the stairs and stuff, run down behind them so they freak out. That's what I'd do. I would be a knob to all the fakers. And then they'd be like, you wouldn't believe what's happening. You wouldn't believe what's happening. And everyone would be like, hang on, you keep videoing stuff. Why can't we see this stuff? Aha! Up there for thinking. Tina Prentice, here's a question. How can a ghost move or throw things? I keep hearing it's their energy, and I don't buy that crap. I mean, I'm the wrong guy to ask. I still think that some form of energy thing threw a glass across a room when I was a child. Stuff moves in our house all the time, so I don't know. I'm not a scientist, and scientists have not proved that the paranormal is real. They say they've disproved it, but so many people with experiences. Maybe we're all just nuts. I don't know. Leslie Rushforth, how do you feel about the Shape's latest debunk on My Haunted Hotel and the drama it has caused? Oh, I'm staying out of it, because no matter what I see, it'll get taken negatively by one side or both sides, or positive by one side, positive by both. Either way, somebody's community is going to get pissed. Somebody, I'm not slating any of these guys in what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is there are some strong opinions and feelings either side, and the second this bearded idiot opens his mouth, carnage will ensue. How do I know this? Because my name was already in the comments on these channels, and I didn't do anything, and I've stayed out of it, and I'm going to continue to stay out of it, because quite honestly, it's nice not to have the blame for a change and everyone come gunning at me. I appreciate your question, and I know it's something everyone wants to ask me, but I've got to stay out of it. But I will add something into that. I'm also getting asked a lot, why am I not doing Laney and Ben? They've got a new disclaimer, and that new disclaimer, I read it out in last night's live stream, basically says, we're fake, don't take it seriously, you're entitled to your opinion, etc. I also think the reason that the editing has gotten so sloppy with those videos is they are waiting for debunkers to jump on them and to start debunking them again, because the highest view video they have had from on their channel in quite some time is the one where they called me a bully. They are looking for another war with me. They are not getting it. I want no part in helping them be relevant ever again. I'm staying away from them. I think the channel is in the toilet. No matter what they are pulling off, it's not working. I mean, they've got Yasko on there. They got Yasko on the Spooky Tuya thing and got 500 views. I bet Yasko ain't going to stick around long for that. Jean-Paul! Same question I asked Mr. Gray. If the moon is cheese and there is chocolate on Mars, is it a ring around Uranus? The brown ring. Yes. Miss Jackie, name your top 3 places anywhere in the world where you would love to visit for a paranormal investigation. Example, Waverly Hills? Yes. Tower of London? I've been there. Vlad the Impaler's castle. I ain't going there because apparently, if you touch a pebble, your whole entire house can be haunted. Gaming chairs thrown at you and everything. Waverly Hills I would love to go to. Bobby Mackey's I would love to go to. And Chillingham Castle. I have just seen the Ouija Brothers put out what I think cinematography, sound design wise, everything, the episode of their careers. It was phenomenal. It's got a rich history there. And I know they didn't capture anything that night. But, you know, it's not like the TV shows and the other side of YouTube show you. It's not every night. But that's the type of place you could go, nothing happen, and you could still have hours and hours and hours of usable footage because it's such a beautiful place. It's not falling down around you like a lot of places. You don't have to sneak in. And it'll have to be in my top 3 places to go because I saw the price of it. Oh, wow. Thank you, Miss Jackie. Jane Glover, Stone Tape Theory. Is the theory that residual energy from moments of the past can be trapped recorded in material surrounds like walls, floors, stone, objects, furniture, and even the land itself, and randomly replayed like a tape on a loop? What are your thoughts on this? I had an experience sort of like it as a 9-year-old child here in Melbourne, Australia. It always took me ages to get to sleep at night. It still does. And one night, I was wide awake as usual. I literally heard as loud as day 2 men approaching the house and walked straight through my bedroom wall, past my bed, and out the opposite wall, while having on a full-on intense, not angry, just intense sounding conversation, a language I'd never heard before and couldn't understand. It shocked me, but it didn't scare me as I realised that our house and me did not exist where they were walking. They had no clue I was there at all. I've never heard them again after that once though, but if it was not the first or the only weird thing I experienced in that house, I had literally heard them approaching the house, and the talking got louder until it was quite loud and they passed me and faded away as they walked off through an opposite wall. Years later, I learned the area I grew up in, which was near a creek, which our local council had buried in concrete pipe, which was once a stopping place for the First Nations people on walkabout between the communities. I'm guessing I heard a brief residual moment of the past time. A lot of people have asked me about the stone tape theory, and if I think that stone can record and play things like a record, then no, I don't believe that. I think it's impossible. However, I think that moments of high anxiety, fear, death, things where emotion is high, that has an impact on everything around it. And maybe that's what the stone tape theory is describing. And that I kind of believe in because we have activity in our house. Nobody that's lived in this house has ever died. There is no rhyme or reason for it. We keep smelling boot polish in the house, yet we don't have boot polish here. And it's and rationally, we called out a plumber. There's no boot polish. What is that odd smell coming from the kitchen? Oh, boiler's in the kitchen. Let's call out a gas engineer. Gas engineer comes in and goes, I can't smell nothing. There's nothing wrong with your boiler. I'm out. Bye-bye. And then other people have come into the house and we're like, what's that smell? We're like, you can smell that. And then it'll just disappear. It is bizarre. And we don't think that's anything intelligent. That's just something every couple of months, or sometimes there's like a year's gap, and then it'll be there for 2 days running. Not consistent, it'll just... bizarre. So I guess, in a way, I believe in the stone tape theory, just not the way I've had it explained to me. Eric with an E, not a W. What would the world be like if pickles didn't exist? I couldn't think of anything significant, so that's the best I could do. I like pickles on my burgers, but I don't think it'd make a huge difference if they didn't exist. However, if there were no pickles, there'd be no Pickle Rick. Rick and Morty wouldn't have made the only episode of theirs I ever found funny, because Pickle Rick was funny. The rest of them, not so much. Hello, Beardo. Could you talk about the haunted things that happen in your house? Thanks, Cap Cindy. I just did. Smell of smoke, smell of boot polish, things moving, things not being where they're supposed to be. We assume they've been gone, and then years later they turn up. Next door has that happen as well. We hear people walking up and down the stairs in both houses when there's nobody about. Could that be the settling? Not always. Just bizarre and heavy footsteps, and it's not constant, certain times of day when the sun is setting, etc. There are things, I have only ever seen it once in this house. Things have been thrown. Mrs. Geek had something thrown at her in the kitchen. Before that, I was in the kitchen, went to grab something, I was like, oh, where's the soap? And it just sort of lunged at me, and I'm like, how did that happen? Soap can be wet, and maybe a bubble was under it and threw it up in the air. I don't know. I also had a phone thrown in the conservatory once. But, yeah, we get nothing sinister, nothing nasty. Mrs. Geek has seen a shadow figure in the living room. I saw one in the bedroom, but that was literally hours before I was hospitalised with a severe temperature through the flu. I nearly died because I didn't want to go to the doctors. But yeah, we get a fair bit in the house. Pop goes my knees. Oh. Pop goes my knees. Oh. I know you're in the stream all the time, but it makes me laugh every time. Don't feel under so much pressure to continue to put out content throughout the whole week. We will just love you as much. I know. Dash X. Hope you're well, no questions here. I'm recovering from a small procedure I had, and on my Reddit a scary video popped up that made me think of you. At first my groggy mind couldn't believe it. Then I realised it was just a spider and it wasn't focused, so also looked like a blob. Almost like Slimer as it shimmied up a wall and disappeared, then dropped back down, getting smaller and smaller to a pinpoint. There you go, Dash. You are a debunker. Raven, would you consider becoming a full-time YouTuber? Yes, absolutely. I've always worked, since I was 16. In fact, I worked before I was 16. I had a part-time job in a video store when I was 14, and I did newspaper rounds and stuff. But as long as I've worked, I've always had something on the outside, like my music and things like that, where I was like, I'd love to be able to turn this into a job. And that sounds so stupid, a job. Being a YouTuber is a job, but it's a job I'd love. Is it a job? Or is it a really well-paid hobby? It is a job. You know, I've got to a point where I've got to set alarms to make sure I'm up on a Saturday to record my videos for the week. Except for today, because today is Wednesday. I was short on content because I had to get drunk Friday night. Operation Madman. Well, that won't do. I'm starting a protest. The picket line begins with me. The man who calls himself Beardo is just a big N-O... ... knob? The man who calls himself Riro is just a really big... Pretty shit in making up rhymes, but you get the gist. You are the best. Thank you. And I am a knob. World of Mr. Grey. Has anyone in your eyes 100% captured a paranormal entity on camera since the invention of video or photography? I believe so. Laney and Ben, really haunted, most haunted, Ghost Adventures, they've all got them coming out of their ear. No. No, unfortunately not. Will anyone ever be able to capture one? Probably not, but it is a lot of fun trying, and I love investigating. I love being able to go out with guys like yourself, like Purple, you know, get up to my knees in dirty, stinking water, walking through a tunnel, just to come out the other end, laugh, walk all the way back through and go, nothing happened. It's fun, and I love the fun side of it. I love the adrenaline rush, because you do get an adrenaline rush for it. And I also really enjoy, or what I enjoy more is the friendships and going out with my friends. Hide and Seek Paraquest. Could you give us a live view on how you go about debunking a video? I have caught something on camera that resembles a human hanging. What? I've sent it to your Discord. If you can't find it, it's on my channel. Thanks. P.S. If you looked, I looped it a few times. Oh, that there. Oh, see, because you've said a hanging man, I'm seeing a hanging man. I'm not being disrespectful here at all, but to me, I can't tell anything what that is. But it also looks like a very famous movie poster with a vampire. It also looks like one of the monsters from Silent Hill 2, because they've got their arms like that, they walk and lurch with their head to one side. I don't know what's caused that. Obviously, there's not enough of the video there for me to see, but to me, that's pareidolia. I can see why you think that looks like a hanging man, because it does. Is that what it is? I got no context where you were, what you were doing. Maybe I'll look at the full video, but I hate doing this to people that are so nice and to people that are regular viewers of the channel, but I mean, I don't know what these blobs are there, but this looks like a guy about to give head to a giant peanut. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, it just looks like pareidolia. Whatever those two other white blobs were, just looks like an unfocused camera and some sort of moisture on the lens to me. I may be completely wrong. But I appreciate it, and I'm glad you sent that to me, because I love to look at stuff like that and try and work it out. Sylvia Wilkinson, I have a question for you. Why do ghosts only come out at night? Why no daytime hauntings? Bizarrely, most of the experiences in this house have been in the daytime. And when our little entourage went to Haunted Hill, or the house on Haunted Hill, we got so many names for it. When we got there, initially we were gonna we'll just investigate for 15 hours and then we'll all drive home for 5 hours, it'll be cool. And when we got there, Papal made a suggestion and he was like, do we need to investigate in the dark? The house is dark-ish, but there's natural light coming in. Have we ever seen just a paranormal investigation in the light? So we investigated, I think it was for 9.5 hours in total, in complete daylight. And that way we were able to chase noises around the building to work out what they were. We did some experiments with noise to see where noises were coming. Well, we created noises in certain places to see where people were hearing them. And the results are quite... Yeah, you'll see it when Papal finishes editing it. The issue we've got now is Papal's job have decided he needs to work 12-hour days. Special Ed. How about current horror movie previews and reviews? You could screen share clips and pause to give you feedback. I strayed into movie reviews, comic book reviews and stuff when I had my unboxing channel. I don't think it's me, because I'm a horror nut. And I've watched trailers and been like, that film looks amazing. And then it turns out to be crap. The Pet Sematary remake. Trailer, amazing. Movie, utter dog shit. I used to do tier list rankings and stuff on Twitch and then upload those to YouTube. When it comes to comic books and stuff, I've got a low bar, you know? I love comic book movies, any of them. We went for so long without having anything that I even enjoy the original Fantastic Four movies. Not that early one, that was god-awful. But I still enjoy Ghost Rider and stuff, just because I'm a complete comic book nerd, and I can get into the cheese, you know? And stuff with movies, I'm a film fanatic. I love movies. Me, Papal and Mr. Grey, we want to do a proper sit-down podcast. We did one in a supposedly haunted location, walking around doing it. But we'd like to sit down, have a couple of beers, coffee for Papal, decaf coffee for Papal, and just talk movies and stuff. So, I don't know. The more this channel grows and the closer I'm getting to this, potentially becoming a real job, then maybe I can do another channel where I do movies, and especially horror. Horror and comic books are my thing. I mean, the living room's got all my horror action figures in there. All my comic book stuff is in here. Got horror Funko Pops. Potentially further down the road, if this does turn into a full-time thing for me, then yes. PSI Paranormal, are you thinking of doing any collaborations on investigations? Yes. I've openly said I'll work with you guys. I will go back out with Ghosts on Trent. I'll go back out with the Ouija Brothers. I'll work with Papal. I'll work with Mr. Grey. I'd go out with Dorset Paranormal again. Connecting to Afterlife I'd work with again. Paranormal Patrol have invited me out, and hopefully we'll get one where I'm not working so I can attend. And Real Evidence are trying to get me out with them. I'll happily go out with them. Unless a channel is, to my knowledge, fake, I'll go out with anyone. I will go out and investigate with smaller channels if it helps their channel to grow. If they need help with their channel to grow and they want to take me out with them, as long as they're doing the good stuff, count me in. As long as I've got the time to do it, I'll go out with the big guys. The only thing I won't do is knowingly work with somebody that is faking. I once had this plan where I was going to try and get out in investigations with people that I thought were faking, and then try to bust them in real time. And my wife has, quite rightly pointed out, somebody's going to punch me in the mouth. And I'm like, While I am not bothered by most people's threats, and while I can look after myself, I haven't been punched in the face in probably 11 years. And if I can go the rest of my days without getting punched in the face again, I'll take that. Because while I can handle myself, getting punched in the head or the face hurts. In fact, the last time I got punched in the head or the face, well, it was the head, the face, shoulders, everything. I broke my jaw on this side, broke the bottom there, dislocated on the right, snapped 3 of my teeth. No, 3 down there and 2 up there. And I was supposed to have had surgery on my jaw, and I never went for it because I was starting a new job a couple of days later. So anyway, guys, there we are, questions. Now, if you've asked a question on another video, I haven't got around to it purely because I'm out of time, and the reason I only give that sort of 10-hour window was I was at work for 8 hours, I got my hour driving either side. It was just a chance to get some of you your comments in, make sure the video isn't too long, which it is looking at that timer. I'm going to cut a lot of stuff, I'm going to cut all my bumbling out. Anyway, I appreciate all of you guys. If you want to see more content like this, let me know. Maybe we'll do some more comments videos soon. In fact, there will be a comments video soon. I've just got to rope in the help of Crow and Judas. All will be revealed. Much love to you all. Thank you all for subscribing. Thank you all for watching. Could you please hit the like button on your way out? I never ask anyone to do it. Apparently I need to. Beardo, out.